Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the CEO Strategy Game, and we're returning to Unity of Command 2, Blitzkrieg DLC, where we're playing the third scenario, the Polish Plain. This is going to be the first scenario under Harris Group A, Army Group A, and it's the main effort of the German attack on Poland with Harris Group A. It forms the southern pins and then plant double envelopment of the Polish army. Although numerous, the Polish formations facing von Rundstedt's forces are neither fully mobilized nor wisely positioned. So we're going to start the scenario here. And we're going to see at, well, basically, let's take a look at the objectives, what we can do, formulate our strategy first, and then execute on that. But I do want to take a couple of minutes, or seconds at least, to think about how these scenarios might play out. It's always a little bit difficult. So, this is it, the main axis of attack into Poland. Under your command is the bulk of our mobile forces. Be mindful not to waste these divisions in positional warfare. The task is to race ahead, leaving it to the infantry to deal with any centers of resistance. See to it that our new experimental light divisions are not needlessly bloodied. Should they prove too weak for their role, they will be converted into full panzer divisions in the future. Finally, be warned that this is no easy task. Our army is untested, and the Poles are sure to put up a tenacious defense. Right, so this is a big map. This is really much of central Poland. So our last fights did occur over here in the Danzig corridor first, and then in sort of this northeastern proportion of Poland. This turn here is being conducted at the same time. It's 11 turns, so it's pretty long, and that does probably mean that we want to use some of our assets. But let's first look at the objectives over here. So we've got Krakow to be taken by turn 3, so pretty early. Blitzkrieg to be taken at turn 3 as well. Lodz by turn 4. That's interesting because it's a little bit closer to our front lines actually. So that's interesting. And then we've got a little bit of a breather before we need to take Radom. That's a bit awkward. And Przemysl. Jesus. And down here, I'm apologizing for butchering these names. So that we do need to take by turn 7. It would be brilliant if we were to be able to hold and take Warsaw by turn 8. Then Lublin by turn 4. That seems like a very aggressive target. And Lwów by turn 8. That might be a little bit more viable, but I'm skeptical about whether we can take this bonus objective. Right, let's look at the supply situation, because this game is heavily centered around supply. We've got pretty much a lot of rail lines coming in, and pretty much all of our rail is connected up. But if we think about these objectives, about these enemy objectives, we can't get supply through here, so pretty much all of our supply will have to flow through Katowice. So either go north here or north there, but either way we do need to take Katowice, also to drive east. We could sort of flank that on the south, but it's going to take a while, I think. So before we do that, yeah, it's going to be difficult. But basically it means that the axis of attack on these guys over here will be probably pretty much carried along with this rail line and or that rail line. There's some forested area here, and we can already see that some Polish units are defending that due to our, relatively speaking, high intelligence. So that's good to know, because that does mean that we probably need to break these guys early or do something to get around them and rely on this rail line a little bit further to the east over here. Attack on Radom is probably also going to be along this rail line, although we might support that from up here if we do build up some supply depot. Although there are a few bridges over here, just a tiny one there and one over here. Might be a little bit difficult. I think it will probably flow around here. And this attack, well, we can do these attacks a little bit from Czechoslovakia, or from ex-Czechoslovakia, I should say, at this point. But yeah, the terrain here is not great. There are no rail lines over here, so basically only Tarnow can be taken that way. So that's interesting. How about the Polish side? Now, the Polish side does get a rail supply from here, so any rail connected to this is going to be in supply. And that's basically all of this southern sector over here. So if we could cut into here, that would be kind of nice, because all of this southern area would then be cut off. Well, at the least if we do take that too. There's another rail connection up here, so that does basically connect up this entire rail line. So they will be, this is pretty much impossible to cut, so they will be in supply along this corridor here, pretty much whatever we do. So yeah, I guess so. Then they are taking some supplies from Warsaw, and that is flowing down here. So we can potentially cut off these guys if we advance through here. So anyone in the far west over here, but basically everything else here will probably be relatively well connected up. Alright, so that's good. So since we are in the preparation phase, let's take a look again at our truck depots then. We do have an interesting amount of truck depots that are sort of small-ish over here. And honestly, I think we can reduce this probably. So let's actually look at the supply network here. If we reduce that, we'd be out of supply here. But I'm thinking that probably we don't need this. We can actually dial this up to a level 3 here. And still supply all of this area here. Instead of all of these smaller supply depots, just have one larger one. I think that's fine. What do we think about this supply depot down here? I think we can potentially move it up a little bit so that we can get something towards over here. So maybe if we build something, let's say over here. That should be enough to supply these mountains, right? So I think that is nice. That does allow us a small flexi movement down there. Good, okay. Anything else then that we want to do with our headquarter units? We can't deploy any reserves. We could rearrange a couple of our units, so that might be interesting. Now, you guys, you've got an artillery sitting somewhere in the middle, that's okay. Your artillery is sitting in the middle there. I would love to give at least one of our tank divisions, potentially the Panzer, 1st Panzer Division here, some additional things, like, for example, the SD caves at 222, so a reconnaissance unit. Because that does prevent us from stumbling into any enemy. The issue is it would just be added over here, which I kind of dislike. So if we can reorganize that step and then add it back to you, no, that would not work. Well, that did cost us a point, but I think it's irrelevant. So can we reorganize that step? Just take one away from you. Take this step away from you. Add that step back. And then add this step. No, it just doesn't work that way. Okay, fine. Right. Do we need anything else? Any other unit that we want to give any engineers or any other support? Now, engineers would be useful, but again, if they are added to the very far left of that, that just doesn't bode too well for us. I'm also thinking that we could add another artillery here and just get you on a very strong... Okay, let's do that. Let's give you some artillery here. That does mean you have a lot of artillery and you can do set-piece attacks now very strongly, and I think that will be very useful against the position here at Katowice. Right. Are we happy with where these guys are sitting? I think we are, so let's call it a day here, and let's get into the actual game. It's been long enough for preparation. But yeah, I do want to, you know what, I do want to take the time here to look at our strategy first. Right, the other thing is this is a very long scenario. It's the longest one that we've been facing so far, so I want to use this card over here, the H111. That is going to give us one additional bombing run per turn. So instead of 2 bombing runs per turn, we're going to get 3 per turn. So 11 overall. I think that is going to be a very useful thing to do over here. So let's go ahead with that. I don't think we need the other ones for now. Maybe that's going to change over time. But yeah. What else have we got? We've got air recon. We can do that 2 times in this scenario. And we've got some precision bombing, destroying a bridge or supply trucks. But we can only use that once. And I think for now that doesn't seem too useful, but we will come back to that once we know a little bit more. Okay, let's start, I think, down here on the south. So Krakow is going to be one of our main objectives. I think we're going to use these Gebirgsjägers here to push up this way to threaten to outflank these guys. Maybe that is going to work. You guys probably do need to... How far can you guys move up? Can move up to here. Okay, let's get you over here, potentially threaten these guys. And since these guys do have some reconnaissance, I think we want to probably try to move up over along this corridor here. So, yeah, let's get you over here at least, and then you can try to get there. So, in the south, this is not going to be very complicated here. We've got 2 tanks, a Leichter and a full Panzer division. Let's use the full Panzer Division to move up over here. I think that's okay. I'm not going to attack for now. Maybe we're going to use some airstrike, but I think that's going to be alright. Yeah, we are meeting some resistance over here. Sort of to be expected. Yeah, we could attack. It's not really the wisest choice, I think. We could also try to come over here, but I don't want to waste our troops on some attack here that is not probably going to get anywhere. So let's look at our main objective here, Katowice. First main objective. This is not a technical objective, but since it is such an important rail line, I do think we need to keep it. So I would really love to envelop you guys. But look at this setup. So they've got one unit here, then a space, then a unit, then a space, then a unit. If I was a scenario designer, and if I was designing a defensive line here, I would place a unit down here. This is currently in the fog of war, so we can't see it. But I almost want to bet that there's an enemy unit down here. Because otherwise it would be very easy for us to flank around. So can we in some way find out whether they are there? Well, I think we are going to get you guys. Well, it might be useful to try to send the tank over here. I would love to get the tank over there. But since we can't be sure whether or not they are there. But even if they are there, probably the tank is going to be the best unit to try to counter them. Because the tank to be used against the city is not really a good idea. The tank to be used against these guys up over here is not a fantastic idea either. So let's take these tanks over here. Yes, and indeed we are facing some resistance over here. That is very interesting. We're getting a 70% chance here to get them to retreat. That is very interesting. Now I don't want to execute that directly because that is some area where an air attack might come in useful. So I don't want to do that immediately. You guys could get over here and start doing some attack there as well. But I think that down there is definitely one of the areas where we want to push up. You guys probably just want to move up into this forest so that we are guarding along this flank. How about we move you guys up over here? I'm thinking that these hills will probably be defended. Yeah, they are. But it's better that these guys here are finding that out instead of them. We've got some light divisions over here. Now, it seems like there's a bit of a gap. But it just might be that there are additional units over here. At least one or two. How far can we move the guys that are the furthest away? Okay, that's interesting. You guys could potentially get all the way over here and tell us about any unit you're finding. Okay, didn't find anything. That's interesting. How about these infantry units? Right, I don't think we've no objective over there, so let's instead get over here. Indeed, we are meeting some units here. And that does lead me to believe that someone must be sitting over here. Yeah, let's... Oh no, okay. No one over here, but we are finding them. And that might be a nice chance to reduce them a little bit. So probably... Actually, I want to use one of my air attacks over here. Didn't do as much as I would have hoped that it does. But it did do something. Could use the armor. This armor would actually be relatively good at doing that. But it would be a zone of control, so it would be also a little bit just a waste to try to take them there. You know what, let's get these lighter division up here. Okay, we're not encountering any resistance there. How about you guys move up over here? You are the ones with the recon, so yeah, we're gonna face some resistance over here, and that does mean we'll not be able to generate a big breakthrough against these units anyway. This is a lighter division, this is a proper panzer division, so you guys are probably the ones that can best attack them. So let's do that. We got one level of suppression there, but that's not really critical. Do move up the lighter division here. Get an overrun there. That's fantastic. That does allow you to move up a little bit further. And let's actually get over here. That's nice, isn't it? And since you can get over here, let's do cut that rail line, because, yeah, the Poles are not getting anything from over here. If we are cutting this rail line, they will be out of supply. We could use this tank to move up, but I think I want to use the motorized division here. These guys are fairly weak, but that's alright. How's our supply network? Our very strong supply depot over here does actually allow us to get supply all the way over here. So that's fantastic. Very nice breakthrough over here. Doesn't solve everything around Katowice, but it's still kind of nice to see that. Now I don't want to be cut off myself, so we need to be not a little bit careful, because we just don't want to be too aggressive. So let's try to deal with Katowice first, so that we know how many forces we have got over there. And you know what? This is one of the things that I really do like about Unity of Command. It has this very simple sort of setup, where you can do very easy movements, but still, due to the mechanics of the rail lines, you are getting this effect that one part of the front does strongly depend on other parts of the front, and that is, I think, in terms of a game design perspective, really, really nice actually. So I do like that. You guys could move down there. Interesting. You could pretty much move there as well. How about you? You can get down here. You could also get into here. When are we getting any reinforcements? We are in fact getting reinforcements now. Well, that's good. I think we want to flank around Katowice. So let's use one of our air attacks to get some good suppression here. And you're actually now considered the weak unit. So you don't have any zone of control, but these guys up there still do. Let's get rid of you though. Getting some suppression on our own, but all in all we are fine. Let's move you up all the way over. We could also go down there, no, but I think up over here is more important. Could attack them, but let's simply get rid of these guys. Good enough. You guys can't get around over there. You guys can now, so that's lovely to see. How far can I get you? Not that far though. Right, let's get the artillery into here so that we have a good position to do a set piece attack on either of these guys here next turn at least. That's lovely. You guys can get over there, but not there. Yeah, there's a lot of zone of control issues going on here. Well, you guys can get there. If I moved you into here... Still can only get there. Well, or there actually, and that would cut their entire line. That would cut their supply. That is going to be interesting. I would love to cut their supply. I would love to encircle them too, but that doesn't seem possible. So, yeah, neither of you guys can get nearly close enough. You guys can't get over the river. You're pretty much limited to operations north of the river. You guys can't advance. That's a no. You guys could all do attacks, but they'd be pretty pointless. Yeah, now I almost wish that I had saved up my tanks so that we could push through here a little bit more aggressively. But we couldn't know. So yeah, what we're going to do then... There might be further units down here which are going to impede that movement. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to run some reconnaissance over here. No enemy unit there, so it was a little bit of a waste, but now we know before we didn't. Let's get down here. No! We were interrupted by these stragglers that were just being... So we did take some prisoners, which is alright, but... We were interrupted by these guys down there. That is a shame. Okay, you guys do need to come up this way. That's a shame. I would have loved to take on Katowice this turn. We do have an air attack, but I don't think that is going to be good enough. Could try to do an air attack down here, but I think given the terrain and stuff and digging in bonuses, probably not going to be worthwhile. Such a shame. Can't advance you anywhere over there either, so you're simply going to get over here, threaten these guys. Okay, what have we got down here then? Lots of infantry. Well, we do want to clear out this rail line, over time at least, so let's do move you guys up. You guys can get over here. These guys might try to come around there, but I think it's going to be alright. They could, at the max, make it towards over here. And these tanks, well, they're only light division, so they're more of an exploitation unit. But I don't see us moving into here. We could try to get over here and then sort of pinch towards their rear next turn. Okay, that might not be the worst idea. But let's see whether we want to move up anyone to the north before that. So going over here would have the potential to cut these guys off. Well, they do have supply coming this way still. If we had gotten one hex further here, we'd be cutting these guys off from supply, which would be fantastic. But we haven't. So going over here just doesn't seem to do that much for us. So I think we probably want to advance a little bit along this front line here. Nice. We did almost get to the headquarters. How far can I get you guys? Not that far. So you guys can either try to get to the north to assist in the exploitation here, but we've got already 5 fast moving units there, so I think we're instead going to get you down here, and then you can start to make your way through there, which I think is going to be alright. Yeah, that's okay. How about these motorized units? Maybe get you over here and you can try to make that envelopment. We're pushing strongly onto the north, but I think there is some scope there for defeating these guys. You could push up a little bit, and we have cut off their supplies here, so that might be a decent idea, I think. So that's nice. Don't want to do any attack that is pointless for now, though. Could have gotten you into here as well. It's okay though. So yeah, pretty much moving up there, but not really moving far enough. Down here, you guys have basically all moved, so that's okay. Now it would be fantastic if we could generate a breakthrough here and start to threaten Krakow from the south as well. Although they are using some units over here. Now this is a -1. An attack on Katowice itself would be a -2. Where they are fortified, they do have artillery, which they don't have next turn. The risk is that could put the city into rubbles. So which one is more important, attacking down here or attacking Katowice? Well, Katowice is more important, but I'm doubting whether that is going to do us enough good. And it's a -2 modifier? Yeah, whereas this is a -1. So that does seem to indicate that this down here would be the slightly better choice. And we do have the artillery over here. Although it would also be useful in the north, if we don't have to use it in the south. Maybe I should have tried that earlier and then tried to push through with these motorized units once these guys are gone, and then we could have cut off all of this supply. But we never know before. Okay, let's try to do that down here. Ooh, 3 suppression. That is actually fairly good. Yeah, let's push you away then. Advance a little bit further. Attack you again. Pretty much get you towards to overrun status. Nice. And you guys over here are fairly surprised, so we can attack you again. We are getting some suppression here, but it's not nearly as bad as I would have thought it to be. Okay, you guys can't advance, unfortunately. You guys can advance, though. And I'm guessing there's going to be some units in Krakow itself, but just getting rid of all of these guys here and their supply is going to be some... Excuse me? they do not have any forces over here, so we can overrun them, get their supplies. They're going to try to interrupt us, but that is pretty nice, isn't it? Lovely. Okay, that does isolate all of these units. That's a good... So we were kind of lucky to do that down there. Okay, pointless attacks up here. Don't think we need to do these. You can't advance further? Okay, fine. No further. Just double checking over here whether we can get any of the unit to advance a little bit more. And indeed we can, so let's get you towards over here. And frankly, this might be an attack that we want to take so that we have some more freedom to movement along this corridor here. So yeah, let's do it. 2 units lost on our side, that's not great. Or 2 strength points. Well, at least we have weakened these guys, so that's fine. That attack is not useful. This would hurt so much. But it would speed up the fall of Katowice. We have got a lot of units who could do that. How long are we going to keep these units? Quite a long time, actually. We'd be losing a lot of units here. No, I don't think so. It's not wise to sacrifice our men like that, I think. Being aggressive is all fine, but you guys can wait at least a little bit until these guys have fallen out of supply. And that's good. Okay, I like it. So far this is going pretty well. I know it's been a long time here for the first turn, but the first turn is always when you do want to see a little bit what is going to develop a little. So I think that's okay. Right, we have gotten a lot of intel about these units here because we have captured so many prisoners. And there's something to be said about that as well, but... yeah, sort of as we would expect, they are guarding the bridges. They're on these hills, they're in the forest. They are in the typical defensive lines that you would kind of expect. Nice breakthrough down here in Krakow. Katowice not encircled, which is definitely unfortunate because they are going to gain 2 strength points. And that is going to make it so much more difficult to break through here. So we just might have to actually bite the bullet here. And attack them like that. They're only going to get stronger. Yeah, look at that. I mean, they have 2 suppressed steps and a suppressed artillery step. If we do wait for them to get reinforcements, they're going to be so much stronger. We can then try to suppress that with a set piece attack. Okay, let's do it. Right, at least we did get Katowice. That's good. That's definitely... oh, and now he can advance. And now this is cut off over here. And that does mean these units are not in supply anymore. Do we get reinforcements? Yeah, I think we do. That's nice. Let's deploy them down here. Okay, we can at least get into Katowice or move towards the north. Well, that's interesting now because these guys are in supply for now because that supply is flowing all the way through here. They are a major hindrance to us because they are sitting on one of the rail lines that we desperately need. However, if we were to cut this bridge over here, they would not be in supply. Is there any other bridge that we think is crucial to disrupt at some point? Honestly, I think not. Okay, let's do it. Bridge destroyed. These guys are now out of supply. Yes, they are. Good. Oh, I like it. That's a very good first move. We've gotten Katowice. We are threatening Krakow, which we do need to take by turn 3. These guys should be out of supply. So that does mean that they're not going to be able to regain their strength. And we have gotten the city at significant casualties on our side. but still I think that is very much worthwhile. Everyone is sort of in supply? Nice. Very nice, actually. Good. How can we get you into theatre? Well, we do need to take on Krakow. So let's actually send you down here, I think. That's alright. Anything else then that we need to do with our headquarter? No, I think for now it's okay. We probably do want to move it a little bit towards over here, maybe? These guys are going to disrupt the movement down here. So I think for now you're fine. But we probably want to move it up next turn so that we are in closer contact with lots up there. Good. That being said, I think now is a very good place to put in a cut. So thank you very much for watching, guys, on this first turn over here. I think the next ones are going to go a little bit quicker. But yeah, hope you're enjoying this series. Bye-bye, guys.